Hey YouTube, Time Itself here to talk about the Battlefield Hardline beta, some of my thoughts on the game, and what I think EA is going for with this standalone expansion pack for Battlefield 4. I'm afraid you'll have to excuse my fairly unimpressive PC FPS skills. I've had about 3 hours with the beta, and my PC can barely run it. I get 25-30 FPS, 720p on low graphics, but I think I can offer some interesting comments. Hardline has a cops and robbers premise, but both sides could just as well be small armies in a city while the main forces slug it out in a round of Battlefield 4. At first we had questions about why a cops and robbers game would be called Battlefield, but truthfully it does have to be called Battlefield because that's what it is, a Battlefield game. Short of the notable absence of tanks, the rest of the main Battlefield features are here. The spawn system is the same as Battlefield 4, spawning in on your squad members, where players pop into existence right out of their teammate's ass, in the middle of a street, while getting shot, under a falling crane. As a veteran of Battlefield 3 and 4, I see this going on and think, yep, that's a Battlefield game. Now I'd contrast this system with what Medal of Honor Warfighter used. Hardline is coming in a place where we normally would have expected to see another Medal of Honor game, but, well, Medal of Honor series got cancelled. In Warfighter, you could spawn on your teammate, your one fire team buddy, but they had to be out of line of sight of enemies for a couple seconds to avoid the spawning in the middle of a firefight, either to die or to turn and immediately avenge your teammate on a guy who thought he was getting in a 1v1 when it turned out he got in a 1-on-2. The revive system is still present, though they've reskinned the defib paddles in favor of a needle, and there's also a self-revive, but don't even get me started on that. But surprisingly, they've done away with the balance changes to the revive system that happened from Battlefield 3 to 4, and players can now revive spam all over the place, reviving teammates at full health. I don't know why this happened. The Battlefield parachute system makes a return. Anytime you're airborne, you can deploy it, and it's repacked immediately when you hit the ground. It lends to the fun of the zip lines and grappling hooks, high buildings with express elevators to the top, and the helicopters you can jump out of, even as a pilot with passengers. Fortunately, passengers are given an audio call out when your pilot abandons his seat, one of the few small improvements Hardline makes. Hardline stops well short of fully embracing its theme of cops and robbers, but there are a few fun thematic changes. Instead of taking dog tags, the humiliation move is now to handcuff a player and interrogate them. And when you're riding in a car, you can lean out of the window and start shooting your gun. It's fun, if not always useful. Like Battlefield, there are no animations for vehicle entry or exit, and it all just feels a little odd. I'd really like to see players use their car doors as cover, but when most people are packing military-grade, fully automatic weapons, I guess it's not the most useful tactic. And speaking of those weapons, it appears to be just copied over from Battlefield 4, with the same attachments in the same slots and doing the same things. You just basically get to unlock everything that you had in Battlefield 4 again. Though thankfully there is some improvement to the unlock system, especially for attachments, where before you'd get one after every so many kills, and they were in a preset order, except for some which you would get randomly from battle packs, who knows when. Now you can unlock them when you want to, if you have enough service stars with the weapon. For example, I think I need 70 kills with my light machine gun here, the MG36, before I can unlock a different barrel for it. Now that will cost me money, I can't just unlock all of them, but I earn money fairly fast it seems, and so when I get those 70 kills, I'll be able to buy the barrel that I want. The rest of the attachments work in a fairly similar way. You'll need a certain number of kills before you can select or pay for which optic or grip or accessory that you want to use on your gun. So it's annoying and grindy, but it's not as bad as Battlefield 4 with its randomness, and it's better than Battlefield 3 even, given that you might have to get a lot of kills to get the one thing you actually wanted with a weapon. I mean, there are some you need 250 kills to finally unlock the sight or attachment you wanted. That just got a little ridiculous. So Hardline is definitely a Battlefield game. From the spawn system, the revives, the parachutes, and the emphasis on vehicles, there's no doubt about it, and Visceral Games has done pretty much the minimum in order to distinguish its Hardline as a new title. So where is EA? Where are Visceral Games trying to go with this Battlefield game? I think it's fairly obvious. EA wants to make Battlefield an annual series, like a Call of Duty. Since a single studio can't make a mainline Battlefield game in a single year, even something like Hardline, maybe if you had a really large organized team, you could put that out in a year, but I don't think so. You need multiple studios all working on the same franchise in order to get that annual release. Call of Duty used to do every studio had 2 years, and they're going to every studio has 3 years now. So what's going on with Hardline? Well, I think we only have to look back at the Call of Duty series. The year after the quintessential COD game, COD 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty World at War came out, developed by Treyarch. They brought the series back to its roots in a World War II setting with that game, but sought to keep as much of the gameplay and features of the modern warfare game, COD 4, unchanged. And it didn't seem to matter that a lot of that game's features were just reskins of the Modern Warfare games, in some fairly odd ways. They copied over the perks, maybe reskinned a few, renamed them, and make it a little more thematically correct. Same thing with the kill streaks. But the thing that really got to me was that they basically copied over the functionality of the red dot sight and ACOG from Modern Warfare in a World War II setting. Now granted, they were loosely going off some very early tech, but it's a World War II game. Why do you have something other than iron sights and maybe a rifle scope? What's going on here? I'm guessing partly they wanted to keep the formula that they knew worked going. Partly they wanted to appeal to the series fanbase who was comfortable with the stuff from a modern game, but pretty much just wanted to play it in a World War II theme. And so that's what they got. It also meant that Treyarch had less work to do in terms of game design. They were just rescanning and rehashing the stuff from COD 4. But after World at War, Treyarch went on to develop the Black Ops series, which is much less derivative of the Infinity Ward titles. So I think it's safe to say that World at War was a stepping stone for Treyarch to full game development of their own Call of Duty titles. And I think it's obvious that EA is trying to pull a World at War for Visceral Games with Battlefield Hardline. They've chosen to build a game around their franchise rather than their setting. Players familiar with the Battlefield series will notice the differences, but it's still a Battlefield game. If you like Battlefield, there's a good chance you'll like it. If you don't like Battlefield, I have to caution that you probably won't. I'm sure some players will have strong opinions about the games, some being great, others terrible, but in reality they're all just Battlefield games. The only reason those players have such strong opinions is because they play so much Battlefield. When I step back, my gripes about Hardline are mostly the same as those about Battlefield 4, and what I enjoy about both games is largely the same as well. World at War had a lengthy open beta before launch. It looks like Hardline is going to see the same thing. So I don't need to tell you my opinion about all the stuff in the game. Go ahead and try it yourself. It might be a couple weeks or months, but I expect a lengthy open beta for Battlefield Hardline as EA tries to drum up support for their new Battlefield game and its new to the series developer. Okay, but seriously, I have to point out that it's really annoying that you can't tell easily which cars you can get in and drive on the map, especially the cop cars. There's a whole barricade of cop cars that you have to jump over, you can't drive. It's really confusing. Oh, hey, look, I can get a cop car. No, you can't. Alright. That's all for me. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.